Welcome to the Beach Chair, where we talk about anything under the beautiful sun of La Union. From surfing, food, art, design, wellness, the community, the people, and that make La Union a dream destination. So today, we're fortunate enough to have an art curator, one of the co-founder of Emerging Islands, Mr. David Loughran. Hi, David.
Yeah.
Okay,
I,
so I was telling you earlier, this is one of the topic I'm actually the most intimidated with
right, yeah.
about art. We're talking about art today.
Yeah.
So, but before we go deeper into that, I want to know your backstory. Like, what made you uh, move to La Union? Like, how did you end up in La Union?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I moved here like really early on in the pandemic, like maybe third or fourth month. I was really just running away from Manila, where I was living and working. I'd been living and working there for 16 years. I was running an art space and a bar called Limbo, which had to close during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Like we weren't allowed to operate for a few months,
Mm-hmm.
and
It went on and on.
it went on, and I was getting really kind of depressed, really.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so decided to run off to like one of the closest places nearby. And I knew some people here, Kate and Theo.
Okay, Teo, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when I moved here, I just couldn't move back. Like I had just gotten so comfortable here,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you surf? Do you surf as well?
I surf, yeah.
Okay, you got into
Yeah, I
surfing.
got into
Mm-hmm.
surfing. So that's one of the reasons, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Stayed
So
here.
you manage an art space in Manila. So prior to moving here, were you looking for something to do here, or you just wanted to escape Manila? Ah,
I just wanted to escape Manila. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I'd been here before, but had never gotten into um, more, because there was
Okay.
always short trips.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But staying here longer, I just met the people. I
mm-hmm,
just kind of met the place, all of
mm-hmm,
this.
mm-hmm,
And that's what got me staying longer.
mm-hmm. And then, of course, I mean, with your background, the Emerging Islands came about. Can you tell us more about the Emerging Islands? What it is,
Yeah.
the history, who are you working with?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Emerging Islands is an art residency. Um, it's an arts for ecology organization that I founded with four friends that I met here in
Okay.
La Union. Like we all just met here. I'd
Uh-huh.
never met them before.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Nicola,
Uh-huh.
who's an ecological writer, and
So
Hannah.
you don't know Nicola from before?
No,
That's
no,
what
no.
I-
People
Oh,
people think we were
wow.
like
Yeah.
we're just like really close that way, I guess.
Okay,
But
okay, okay.
we just met here
Mm-hmm.
with Hannah too,
Mm-hmm.
Reyes Morales, who's
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
photojournalist.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, we all had the same story. We were all kind of marooning here, not being able to do the work we were doing, as creative practitioners. And so when we met, we were all really just kind of complaining to each other about how miserable we were, that we weren't going out doing assignments, or me, curating art,
Mm-hmm.
until that frustration kind of built up into something else, because I don't know, like we realized we had such a good life here, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
were so comfortable, we were
Mm-hmm.
so
As
happy.
compared to Manila, yeah.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
also all that mobility we were having,
Enjoying, yeah.
enjoying, we felt like, this is something other people could have, other
Mm-hmm.
artists could have. And
Mm-hmm.
right about that time, residencies kind of started becoming really popular all over the world. During the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
institutions would start hosting
When you say
people.
residency, what does that mean? Okay.
Well, quite simply, it's just a format that allows for other people to reside where you are. So
Okay.
artists come here and they do the work here, and we help them out, kind
Mm-hmm.
of produce that work. We
Okay, so and these artists comes from all over the world, like wherever they are.
all
How
over the world.
how do
Yeah.
you choose? Do you invite or do they message you or?
We do open calls sometimes,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
but for the past year and a half, maybe it's mostly been people reaching out to us. Actually, they hear about us, they hear about the work we do, but
Mm-hmm.
also they learn about La Union and kind of how vibrant and thriving it is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they all kind of want that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them are diaspora, like
Mm-hmm.
people from outside the country. Most of them have Filipino, wanting to reconnect back
With
to
their roots,
the
yeah, yeah.
roots.
Like finding their identity.
Yeah, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much.
And it's any medium.
Any medium. Yeah.
Any medium.
Yeah, we've
Mm-hmm.
worked with visual artists, writers, poets, musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
And
any
is
art
there
form.
like a limit to how long they can stay here, or? Mm-hmm.
Not really. Yeah, some
Mm-hmm.
of them overstay. A
But
lot of them.
normally it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
A month
What's
is good
a month is good. Yeah.
because the pace is really different here, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like some
Mm-hmm.
of them come and they know what they do and they think they can do it in 2 weeks, but then they get into the LU
Right.
time, which is much slower, and they end
Mm-hmm.
up staying a little longer.
So would you also attribute like the the emergence of emerging islands with the timing? Do you think La Union was already ripe for this kind of movement
I
here?
think so. I think
Mm-hmm.
so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it has what artists really need to kind of produce really effective work, and that's
Mm-hmm.
mobility. I think just the opportunity to go out into the world, meet people, meet ecology. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something we really do well here. You
Mm-hmm.
know, people are
Mm-hmm.
really outdoorsy here. People are very social. People are very kind. But we have a way of engaging people such that they go out of their comfort zone. You
Okay.
know, in the
Mm-hmm.
ways I have
And
to
be part of the community.
be part
Yeah.
of the
Speaking
community,
of the
surf. You know,
community, like how did the local community, how do you work with the local community? Mhm.
well, like I said, we're an arts for ecology organization. So what we do is we introduce artists to people who do work in ecology here. So
Mhm,
scientists,
mhm.
environmental workers, environmental students. We part we partner with a group called Yes. Uh, it's a group of environmental students who are also
Based here in La
leaders. Yeah,
Union.
based here in La Union, headed by an environmental governance professor in Limsu named
Okay.
Celso Hukutan.
Uh-huh.
Basically, teaches his students how to be ecological storytellers, right? And so we do workshops with them,
Mhm,
kind
mhm,
of linking them to artists to expand their storytelling means.
mhm.
Yeah.
And the goal is to be global or mhm,
I wouldn't say so,
mhm,
although we always feel like whatever we do here is something the rest of the world does need to hear.
mhm. It
Doesn't
resonates.
necessarily
Yeah.
mean we have to be out there, but
Mhm,
it's stories that need to be out there because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is produce stories from our islands to really show the rest of the world what it's really like to be living
mhm,
in an island, to
mhm,
be an island voice.
mhm, mhm, mhm. And uh, I also know that you've been invited. You've been working with Nat Geo. You've been invited to. How was the experience?
Uh, well, quite a great one because it really encourages us to do the work of ecology and to really explore,
Mhm,
which is, you know, the primary goal of this residency is to shelter them, but to get them moving and exploring, you know, the world, right?
mhm, mhm.
And so it's encouraged us to program in ways where you know our artists go on hikes and expeditions here and go on treks like we do
And to,
here
to really be out there.
really be out there
Okay.
because that's where the story is. You know, that's where the life is.
Right. Also, I think one of the most prominent and obvious output here in La Union is Mebuyans Vessel. Can you tell us more about
Right.
Mebuyans
Yeah.
Vessel?
So it's a work by an artist named Leroy New. He's he's a sculptor by origin
Mm-hmm.
and a builder, and he often references Philippine mythology in his work. And Mebuyans Vessel is inspired by a Bagobo goddess named Mebuyan, who's a many-breasted goddess of the underworld,
Mm-hmm.
and her her role in mythology is to shepherd
Mm-hmm.
lost souls into the next place, which I think is really fitting
Mm-hmm.
for this
For the
place,
space,
you
yeah.
know, which is like a place people come to live their like second life. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
what I've always thought. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's perfectly fitting, and um, Mibuyan's vessel is going to become like a community hub for the next 2 to 3 years,
Okay.
where we'll host.
It's gonna be there for the next 2 to 3 years,
Yes, yeah,
hopefully.
maybe longer. I don't know. And it will host exhibitions, community events, things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what's next? What's next for Emerging Islands? Like, what do you have upcoming projects and?
We have several things. A lot of talks in the horizon where we get to again like talk to people in the global audience about the work that we do
Mm-hmm.
here. So
Mm-hmm.
several trips with Nat Geo to Japan and Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another one in Paris for an institute
So
there.
it's really going to be international.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which makes me think about home a lot. Always wish I could just spend all my time here.
Right. Just be in La
But
Union.
really more workshops.
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole year of workshops
Mm-hmm.
planned, all congealing around Mibuyan's Festival,
Mm-hmm.
where
Is
we
one of the goal of Emerging Islands also coming up with this model and then you can replicate it within the other provinces of the Philippines?
that's
Or?
the idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily have to be us doing that work, which is why we always feel like the work involves being part of a network
Mm-hmm.
of other
Of
islands who
artists and
share the
islands,
same
yeah. Mm-hmm.
vision. Because there are many organizations like us, very active project spaces that are community based, many spaces like us. It's all just about sharing the frameworks and the models that we build so that
Mm-hmm.
they can, execute there.
Okay, okay. So we've always like before we did this interview, like I remember 2 days ago, I mentioned, okay, we're going to talk, but nothing too political, but everything's
Okay.
political.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your thought on art being always political? Uh-huh.
Well, in the sense of working with artists and hosting in here, it's really just quite simply being aware of, what's going on in the world,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when you walk around, it helps to be aware of what's actually underneath the surface layer of what you see.
Mm-hmm.
We love this town. It's a beautiful place. We have so much to offer, but every place has something kind of undergirding it. There's um,
The stories,
ways.
yeah.
There's stories.
Mm-hmm.
There's. It's not necessarily just politics, right? It's just ways of being as well,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and just understanding that and how we interrelate with other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is already political.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever worked with what do you call this? Like the art community aside from the environmental groups here in La Union?
Yes,
Like,
yeah. I
mm-hmm.
mean, there are actually there are a lot of artists here. There's actually a council, like a La Union Council,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
mostly based in San Fernando,
Okay.
and we
Mm-hmm.
invite them
Mm-hmm.
to our events. There's also a library in San Fernando called
Poon,
Poon Library.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people call it Tadyar Library because
Mm-hmm.
it's run by the Tadyar family. Um, we 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 share in our kind of experiences with them.
Materials,
We
yeah.
co-host events with them.
Mm-hmm.
They had like a symposium recently in the Emerging Islands House. They also have a residency. Like they also just started a residency. So
Okay, okay.
there's more of these things happening now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And are they uh, promoting also like the Ilocano culture, the
Yes,
Ilocano?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And they're doing it quite well. And
Mm.
they're really Ilocano. They're really from
From
here. The
here,
Tadyar
right?
family is really from here.
Okay, just to close it up. What do you want to say to, I mean, artists out there listening, want to be involved with emerging islands or want to move to La Union, and what should they do?
Um, they should come here. They should seek us out at Emerging Islands. But I invite everyone to really kind of try out the life. Come here. Don't be so maarte. Just try surfing. I swear it'll pay off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Okay, thanks so much,
You're
David, for,
welcome.
for being here today.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, so thanks everyone for tuning in today. Uh, Follow us and subscribe on Alpas La Union, Alpas Siargao, Facebook, Instagram, all our social media accounts. Stay tuned to our next episode. Everyone's welcome here. I'll always reserve a seat for you. Okay, see you next time on the beach tour.